saw that with both Cousins and Trubisky. Both of those guys sailed their receivers a few times and ended up with a couple of interceptions each.
3 personal foul penalties on the Vikings. I thought the one against Eric Wilson was just a bad call, just a silly call. The Harrison Smith one, he should be better than that.
Absolutely. I was surprised on both accounts. Number one, like, apparently the reason Eric Wilson was called for that personal foul was because he threw the towel back at the guy. You know, like, he ended up with his towel, and that's just ridiculous.
That's
if you're calling that. It didn't look to me like he was jawing, really. He kind of threw his arms back. Yeah, exactly. So that one I thought was really ticky-tack. The Harrison Smith one, it's the way the NFL is right now with quarterbacks. You have to be smarter than that and not go into it. And I thought it was the right call, because although there are times where it's hard to adjust, when a quarterback is just starting to go down and you're in that area where you were going to make the tackle. But I think what contributed to that call is it looked like Smith just kind of buried his shoulder into him. And so that is, I think, in today's NFL, that's going to get called. And so I think it was the right call. And, frankly, that was one of the differences in the score, because that took them into field goal range. I think that penalty brought the Bears to the 36-yard line. Eventually they got to the 30 and then kicked the field goal, but they didn't pick up another first down after that play. And, I thought Matt Nagy showed extreme confidence in Parkey by going to him for a 48-yard field goal after Parkey's struggles the week before.
No question. Anthony Harris looks like, I don't know, you don't want to overreact to a guy catching an interception that's thrown to him, but man, Anthony Harris just seems to make plays. And you remember back last year, his forcing a fumble on the goal line was one of the reasons they beat the Rams. He just seems to make good plays.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Sendejo is a tough run stuffer, but I don't think he always took the best angles when he was back there. And I think Anthony Harris has better range. Now, the second interception, I agree with you. It's just kind of, hey, it got thrown right to him. You should make that interception. The first interception I thought was tremendous, because he went over there and attacked the ball. That
was a great play.
Yeah, I was very impressed with that one, and it was one of those games where you went into it and thought, yeah, turnovers really will play a big factor in this game, and frankly, Anthony Harris gave them a shot to win the game, and the offense just couldn't take advantage of enough of those turnovers to turn them into touchdowns. So, but I feel like when Sendejo comes back, I'm not so sure that he deserves to be the starter over Anthony Harris at this point.
I agree with you. Man, we still have a lot I want to get to. Let's thank our final sponsor, though, Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund. Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, handles my insurance, handles Michael Russo's insurance, and we've both been very happy with him.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
You talk about Harris making 2 big plays, one thrown right at him, one just a spectacular interception. Xavier Rhodes had a chance to change the entire outcome of the game.
Yeah, that was one of those where they rarely went to him because he was on Allen Robinson most of the game. And it was an interception. If he would have made it, and it wasn't one that I would say was easy, but I would say it's one that a Pro Bowl cornerback probably should make. And if he intercepted that would have been the Vikings pick 6, and they would have been in a much better spot then. In fact, that may have been the one where they would have had a shot to actually tie the game with that and a 2-point conversion. So big turning point there where so many of the turnovers were critical in this game. not getting that turnover may have been one of the biggest points in the game.
No question. Adam Thielen, not one of his more spectacular games, but he did tie Randy Moss by reaching 1,000 yards after 10 games in a season. Became the first since Moss to gain 1,000 in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah, and
that's in Vikings history.
Yes. And so, I mean, we also remember that it was 2009 before Adam Thielen broke 1,000 yards last year. It was 2009 since the last 1,000-yard receiver. So with Thielen, the cute little story is over, and I think it's even over on the national stage now. People just are recognizing him as one of the best receivers in the NFL, and it certainly helped now to have Stephon Diggs back. Both those guys are doing a lot, and the next thing I wanted to get to is Thielen has that thing where he's the first receiver since Moss to have back-to-back 1,000 yards. Diggs is the first receiver since Chris Carter in 94 and 95 to have 4 games in a season with 10-plus catches. And Thielen's got 3 of those games, too. So he could join that group as well. And so it's just such a good combination that those two have. We've talked about it a lot, but it still continues to impress me what they've gotten out of a 5th-round draft pick and an undrafted guy.
Absolutely. Let's go to the big picture here. And by the way, we ran a promo with Bite Squad last weekend. Thanks to all those who used it and benefit from it. Just a reminder, if you haven't used Bite Squad yet, you want to use the promo code TalkNorth, you can get your first delivery fee waived at bitesquad.com or the Bite Squad app. So the Vikings have a tough road now. Not impossible, but they have a tough road, and especially the next 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, right now they are number 6 in the NFC. So if the playoffs started today, they would actually make the playoffs. One of the problems would be that they would then go face the number 3 team in the NFC, which is the Bears. So they would have to travel back to Soldier Field if things play out as they are right now. It's unfortunate because really, I thought heading into this game, the Vikings had a lot of good things happen for them over the weekend in the NFC, where a lot of the other wild card contending teams lost. The Panthers, the Redskins, the Packers, the Eagles, they all lost. And so if the Vikings would have won, not only would they have taken a half game lead on the Bears in the division, but, they would have had some cushion the rest of the way. And that cushion is pretty much gone right now. They're a game and a half behind the Bears. Fortunately for the Vikings, they have the chance to play the Bears again at the end of the regular season. But, when you look at the schedules between teams like the Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, Vikings have the toughest schedule left out of them. So it's going to be a real challenge for them. They've already played some of the best teams in the NFC, but it doesn't get a lot easier for them here. So they've kind of made their bed. They're going to have to be really good in these final 6 games or 5 games to make it, make it into the playoffs. Right now they are there, but they really can't afford too many more losses. They're going to have to beat quality teams here on out.
And the Vikings have the 5th toughest remaining schedule. The Bears have a they are middle of the pack. Green Bay has maybe the easiest schedule remaining. So just points another big Vikings-Packers game the Vikings really have to win. If they lose this game to the Packers, then it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. If they win it, then they're still at least have a fighting chance.
Yeah, I mean, normally we go into a Packers week and it's either one of the teams, the Vikings or the Packers, going for the division lead. And at this point, they're both chasing the Bears. And so it's got a little bit of a different vibe. I'm not sure that the Packers are a playoff quality team at this point. It seems like they have a lot of issues kind of festering under the surface with Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, and are they on the same page with the offensive play calling and the scheme? So it's a different vibe. But I would say that, the loser of this Packers game is really going to struggle to, well, first of all, given the schedules, I'm not sure that the Vikings can lose this game and have a realistic shot at winning the division anymore. And it's going to be a really uphill battle to make the playoffs, given their schedule. So it's pivotal for the Vikings. It's critical. They need this win, but I do believe that because they're playing at home, and I just think they have a better overall team than the Packers, that they can get this win.
Well, they absolutely should. If they don't, it's a real trouble sign for the franchise, and for maybe even for Zimmer and Spielman. If they can't beat the Packers the way the Packers are playing right now at home in a must-win, we'll have a lot to talk about next week. Let's put it that way. Let me come to Tim for a final thought. Thanks again to WizKids.tech, WHIZKIDS.tech, Twill in the Edina Galleria, that's Scott Dayton Shop, Mississippi Pub down in Inver Grove Heights, and Beaver Island Brewing, Fixology Repair. Again, they have sales on Seiko Watch. They've upgraded their inventory on Seiko watches. They also have Kenneth Cole and some other brands on sale right now. Great time for Christmas shopping. And thanks to Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin, and BiteSquad.com. Again, the promo code for Bite Squad is Talk North. Final thought, Tim.
Well, to me, I talked about tensions between Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy, or at least perceived tensions there. I'm going to be very curious now that the Vikings are locked in for 3 years with Kirk Cousins and his contract. And, if Mike Zimmer continues to make comments like he did, and, I'm not saying I disagree with him, because I do agree that it seems like he does preach turnovers and how costly they are. And Cousins has had, whether it's fumbles or interceptions, has had game tilting turnovers at critical times this season. But, usually when that's happened in the past with Case Keenum, we knew it was a kind of a 1-year deal, or could be a 1-year deal with Case Keenum. Sam Bradford was kind of a short-term fix for them. Now you have Zimmer and Cousins together. I don't think that they would make a change with either Zimmer or Spielman if they don't make the playoffs this year. But, if that is the case, and these two are together for at least 2 more seasons after this one, either Cousins is going to have to be a little bit better taking care of the ball, or Zimmer's going to have to figure out a way to coexist with a quarterback willing to take risks. And sometimes that pays off, and sometimes it comes back to bite them.
Great stuff as always from Tim. We'll be back next week to talk about the result of the Vikings-Packers game and about the rest of the difficult games ahead. Again, you can find all the shows at talknorth.com. Check out Jeff Diamond's show on this network, Jeff Diamond's Vikings and NFL Insider. And we'll talk to you next week.